So I'm going to record this though, so that anybody who didn't get to make it, they can watch it. But I just want to kind of go over just like the daily things and like how I do them. You might find something that works better for you. Like if you hop on one of the work with me's during the day or whatever, like you might find some tips from other leaders that do things differently than I do that might work better for you. But I'll give you like the lowdown on like how I do things and how I try to get them done like the most effectively. So first and foremost, like we have like our schedule, our weekly schedule. We have Zooms every Monday and Wednesday for the team. I'm going to start adding in some for our team too, like where I lead them with our whole entire team probably on Thursdays. So you have those that are recorded, so you don't ever have to feel like you have to be on them. A lot of times you won't see me. I usually watch the recordings because my husband is home in the evening and I want to spend time with him. So I typically catch the recording the next day. And so I don't want you guys to feel pressure. It's something that you definitely want to plug into, like if you have time, or making sure that you go back and watch the replay, but don't feel pressured to like show up to every single thing because you might feel like burnout, right? Then we also have on Thursday, we have an opportunity event that you're able to invite your potentials to. If you feel comfortable talking about the business, or if you like put me in a three-way chat or whatever, then it's something that you typically won't use, but it's a good resource if you have somebody who's like really on the fence, and you can just be like, hey, I have this Facebook Live event. It's on Thursday. Like, let me just add you to it. You can watch it from the comfort of your home. No pressure, but like just listen to it and see what you think. And so that's like what that's there for. So those are every single week. Different leaders get on those and lead those. So now daily work with me Zooms. I don't know. Have either of you gotten on one of those? No.
I haven't done like during the day ones. I've done the Monday and Thursday.
Okay, so you
I did this Monday and I did this Thursdays.
Okay.
This, what was it? It was last night's.
Yeah, so those are the trainings. So work with me's are a little different. The work with me's are in the morning. Typically, I have a schedule. I can send it. I think I did send it over here.
Is that the morning? Yeah, it's the morning one that you sent.
And so it does make it hard for people who have like jobs, right? Like, because you're at work. Typically you're working. So it does make it kind of hard. But if you ever can catch one of those, they're really, really good for like, they walk you through every single thing that you're supposed to be doing. Like when you're doing a like sit down and do like a round of IPAs. So let me break you down my schedule and how I do my morning and explain to you how I do each task. And then you guys can ask questions. So whenever I get up really early. That's just my personal preference because I'm a morning person. I get up really early and I knock out most of my IPAs before my kids ever wake up. So like 6:30 in the morning, I'm typically done with like everything that I need to do, except for just like posting on my story, responding to messages, and interacting. Those are the only things that I do the rest of the day. So in the morning I wake up, and self-development, because I don't do self-development as soon as I wake up, which that's different. Most people will tell you that's the first thing that they do. I do that when my kids nap. That's just what works for me. So self-development is the first thing. For me, I personally have found that I really enjoy reading. I started off by getting on YouTube, and I didn't really know. And I'm going to tell you, I felt so awkward whenever somebody told me that I needed to do self-development. I was like, I'm just here to make money, yo. Like, I don't know what you're talking about, but like, I don't need to do all that frilly stuff. Like, I just want to make money. And then I realized that I actually needed it because you come in times in business where, maybe somebody walks away. That was like a big part of your team, or, like things happen just like in life, and it doesn't hurt to have a good mindset and to have something to fall back on, and to be able to be strong here so that you don't fall when things happen. So, I started off on YouTube watching, like just typing in motivational speeches. And then I found certain people that I really liked. Like I love Eric Thomas. He's one of those people who like yells at you, and I don't know why, but I really like it. I'm like, yes, yell at me, tell me I suck. Like, I don't know. I really like it. It motivates me. And so that's my jam. Some people like it, like, softer tones or whatever. Like you just got to figure out what works for you. But that podcast, that was a lot of what I did in the beginning. And then I realized that I tend to have like a mind that wanders. And so if I'm like trying to listen to a podcast, like let's say while I'm doing dishes or whatever, like I'm only half listening and I don't feel like I get as much out of it. So for reading for me is something that I really have to concentrate and I'm focusing only on that task. So that's something that I started doing. So you just figure out what works best for you. But I definitely suggest like if you're if you're like me and you're thinking I just came here to make money, like I don't know why you're trying to tell me that I need to grow as a person. You do. So just suck it up and figure out what you like to do. The next thing will be adding to your network. I know that this one feels so uncomfortable. It was so uncomfortable for me when I first started. I was like, I do not want to add all these randos that I don't know. I don't know who they are. I don't know why they're like, it's just so strange. But if you do
my first question, literally.
No, yeah, I know. So let me tell you, because I have it down to a science, and it's something that I've done literally for 4 years and it's worked for me. So I add myself to Facebook groups constantly, like with things that I'm interested in. So like I have a Great Dane, so I'm in Great Dane groups. I'm a mom, so I'm in mom groups. I love crawfish, I'm in multiple crawfish groups. Like I'm just saying, like any type of group, like there's kazoo groups. Okay, so if you blow the kazoo, you can get a kind of group. There's groups for everything. So if you just really think about the things that you love and like the things that you have, and then you go add people out of those groups, you now are adding people that you have common interests with. So it doesn't feel as awkward. You will still have people that pop into your inbox and are like, "Who are you?"
Yeah.
Okay, and so let me just get this out there now. If somebody does that to you, I used to say, "Oh my God, no, but you look so familiar." Don't do that. Okay, don't do that. Don't be a liar. Just say like, I'm just honestly. I know it's so awkward, and we live in like different states. It's like they're like, "Oh, have you ever like been to Florida?" I'm like, "No, I haven't." It's so strange. So don't be like me. But how I handle it now is just like when somebody does that, which it doesn't really happen that often to me. But when it does happen, I typically just say like, "Oh, I'm just trying to, grow my mom friends or whatever kind of group. Like, I'm just trying to connect with more people that like, have the same interests as me. Like, don't feel pressure to add me if you don't feel comfortable. Like, totally fine." And so like that's typically what I say. A way to combat people coming to you and saying, "Why are you adding me?" is to not have your page look like you're trying to sell them something. So typically they're going to do that if they go onto your page and it looks like you have product on, you know what I mean? Like it's not really your face. They don't really know what you're about. Like all they're seeing is thrive. Like they're going to be like, this chick's just trying to sell me something. So it's typically a turn off, and then they'll be like, "Who are you? And why are you even adding me? Where'd you find me?" You know, kind of thing. So, that's one thing. And then when you're in the group, sometimes people are really mean in groups, and they can like call you out because typically you're not supposed to, like they have their rules and they're like Nazis and they don't want you to add from their group. So what I do is I go into their members and I go scroll down to the section that says new to group, and I add from those, because those people are not going to be like, there's not going to be an admin in there. You're not going to accidentally add an admin. Like those are all people that are like new, but they're obviously in the group because they have that same interest. So I typically go to that, and I'll go to like 5 different groups and add 10 people from each. So I'm not like spam adding from one group. I just go into multiples. And that's why like every week I add myself into more. So I have a ton of groups to like go filter through. So that's that. And then on Instagram, as far as following people, you want to follow normal people, right? You don't want to follow like bloggers and like all these people. And I think that on Instagram, sometimes we have a hard time because we like there's all these like people with like thousands and thousands of followers. Like obviously I don't want to add them. So what I do is I scroll my timeline, and while I'm interacting, like let's say here, let me see. Like this girl, she's like super cute. You can't see her, but she's super cute. And she has 81 likes on this picture. So I like her photo, and then I open it up and I go and I look through people that are liking her post because she's just a normal girl. And I'm like, I'll look through their pages and I follow that way. So I can do that, or I can search hashtags, things that are relevant to me. And then you can also search places. So if you're trying to add in your local area or in a certain like area, you can go places, and then people that have tagged themselves at, like, let's say you love the restaurant in your area, like I love Texas Roadhouse, it's right down the street from my house. So if I were to type that in, and then I look at all the tagged people from that location, then I can add people from there, and then they're all going to be local to me. So I like doing that sometimes too. So there's a lot of different ways you can do it, but that makes it a little bit easier. So does that make sense?
Because I've been doing like on Facebook or on Insta where it says suggested. Like I'll look and I'm like, oh, it says you have like 8 mutual friends. I'm like, oh, okay. But then I just realized like the last 2 days, like almost every single person that I added is because they're all Lavelle.
Yes, that. And then two, one of the things that is like we tend to start adding each other, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then if you're adding suggested friends, you may be pulling from somebody's potential, and so
Right.
typically I suggest like to stay away from that, just because
Yeah.
like you said, they're going to be either connected to the company somehow, or they're going to
Yeah.
be somebody's potential, and it just gets messy. So now you can try the group thing and see if that works for you guys. The next thing, happy birthday. I think that's pretty self-explanatory. It's so simple. If you have an iPhone, you can do what I do, and you can do what's that? You can make a shortcut of like a text replacement. If you go into your settings, there's something called text replacements. And so I literally just type, like I created a shortcut. So if I type money sign and then B-Day, it literally just types out a whole birthday message to them, and then I just send it. And so I send it to every single person. So if you want to do that, you can try that. But I post on their wall. I used to slide into people's DMs, and then I felt like it was like, if I didn't really know them, it felt uncomfortable for me to be like wishing them happy birthday in their inbox. So I just post on everybody's walls. Next thing, interacting. This one is going to be huge. This is how you're going to be able to start getting things back. So if you're really wanting to see more interacting on your own post, then you have to do double the interacting out to other people. And interacting can go both ways. So you can do it on stories. You also do it on your timeline. And you'll want to interact heavily with people that are on your potentials list. So if anybody who may have reached out didn't end up enrolling or whatever, that's how I typically follow up. So I'm not going to be in your inbox like, hey, did you still want to sign up? Like, I don't do that. I interact with you so that you see my name, because every time you see my name, I know what you're thinking about. Okay. So that's how I follow up with people. I mean, of course, I still technically follow up and go into people's inboxes if we have a sale or whatever. But interacting with them shows them, hey, I'm still here, But when I say interacting, I don't just mean like, oh my God, girl, you're so cute. Like everyone that's the easy thing to do. When you're interacting with, you really want to make sure that you're being genuine, that you're interacting in a way that can start a conversation. So like, let's say I usually interact on food. I don't know what's wrong with me. I'm just like, I guess food, I don't know. I've noticed that I interact with that way more than anything else, or people's like babies or dogs. And so like, I'll usually say like, oh my God, that looks amazing. Like, can you give me the recipe? Because then they're going to send it back. I'm like, oh, I love that. That actually reminds me of this recipe. And then guess what? Now we're talking and like, whatever. And they feel like now I'm not just some rando. Now I'm a normal person that they've had a conversation with. And so now when I interact with them, it's not weird. And then they start seeing my stuff because I just interacted with them. So Facebook, Instagram, both platforms, stories and timelines. Okay. How I break it up, since I think all of you are in the accountability chat. So the requirement was 40 post interactions and 40 story interactions. I usually do 10 on stories, 10 on timeline in one sitting. And then I put my phone down for a little bit. And then when I sit down the next time, 10 on stories, 10 on whatever. So I do that 4 times a day. Probably takes me like 15 minutes. And so that's really the only thing besides answering messages and posting on my story that I'm doing in the afternoon. All the other stuff gets done in the first thing in the morning. So then it's done. So it really, really makes my schedule lighter. And then posting is the next thing. Posting on your timeline. I know, Courtney, you asked earlier, like I'm kind of feeling like I don't know what to post. Like that's going to happen. Like you're going to feel like I don't really know what to say. Let me remind you first and foremost, not every single post that you put out there has to be about Thrive. So you want to make sure that you're like switching it up between like just posting about whatever and then also, incorporating in the products and the business. You want to make sure that when you're doing this, this is new to every single one of you that are on here. You don't want to become Lavelle. Like Lavelle's just a part of your life. It's not who you are. You're not going to wear Lavelle as a name tag. I want people to come to your page and have to try to figure out what you're doing, not be like, I am a rep for Lavelle. Like it needs to be curiosity, because the more curiosity that you pique, the more that people are going to have to come to you to get information. And that's how you're going to be able to build your potentials list. Because if you're giving them all the info, they never have to come ask you a question, and you never knew that they were interested. So we have to make sure that we're being, we're leaving something. Obviously, everyone who's been on my page, they know I'm with Thrive, right? They know I'm with Lavelle, but I don't give them pricing. I don't give them all the details about, even like the 3-step system. Like, unless you're just like catch me on a live sometimes when I'm explaining it, but like, if they don't know those things, they have to come into my inbox to ask me. And that's definitely a key to building your business, because you want to be able to answer somebody's questions so that you're in control of that conversation. You don't want them to be able to make up their own mind or like go to Google, because you can find something negative about everything out there. So if somebody goes to Google, I'm sure they can find something negative. But posting, you're going to want to choose from your 5s list, either 5s about the business, 5s about the products, and then 5s about just who you are as a person. So you can have like 3 different 5s lists. So if you haven't written those out, I would encourage you to do that, because I think it makes it easy to go back and just be like, okay, I think I want to talk about this. One of the best things that I ever did was start writing all of my posts in my notes section before I took them onto my platform. Because if I ever have a busy day, every single post almost that I've ever written in the past 4 years is in my notes section. And so I can go pull from those when I'm feeling uninspired. Sometimes that happens, or, if I'm just having like a super busy day, that eliminates me being able to say, never mind, I'll just do it tomorrow. I'm still able to show up. So that's a good tip for posting. And then posting on your stories. This is massive because stories are huge. When they started putting this out there, which if you know anything about social media, they reward you when you do whatever is like the new cool thing. So the more that you utilize like their stories, they're going to boost your engagement, because they want you to do and be like authentic. They don't reward posting, which, now that I think about this, I really need to say this. If you're sharing stuff on your page, like from other people, please stop. When you make a post, and then let's say you make a post and then 3 posts later, or like you post 3 times right after that, just sharing like funny memes or whatever, like, trust me, I think things are funny on social media, but I usually save them and send them to whoever will think it's funny with me, or I save it and I'll post it myself so that it's original content. Because when you're sharing something, they shoot you down. They literally don't want people that are like sharing. It takes your algorithm down. And it also, when people come to your page, they're having to filter through like 15 different things that you've shared from somebody else. They don't know who you are. And that's like your interview. That's your storefront. So when somebody goes to your timeline, to your page, when they open it up, they shouldn't have to guess who you are. They should be able to say like, oh, okay, like Courtney, oh, that's her husband. Like, oh, they're so cute. Like, oh, like she just got married. Like those they should know all of those things. Okay. They shouldn't have to guess. So definitely wanted to make sure I made that point. Does everyone know how to use their stories? Yeah. I know Tiffany, you were still playing around with Instagram. She's never really used it too much, so she was still playing around with it. But I think it's definitely something that comes like with time, just like a skill that you learn. Mine were so weird in the beginning. I was like, I did not know what I was doing at all. And then the more that you just like watch, like there's like YouTube videos on like making stories. Pinterest has like a million different ideas on how you can make like stories cute. And at the beginning, I really just don't want you guys to stress yourselves out about like making something look like somebody who's been in the business for 4 years. Like, I just want you to just be who you are, show up authentically, not try to worry about if you look as good as so-and-so, and just post things out because that's what's on your heart. That's what I want you to focus on. I don't want you to focus on making your stuff look perfect. Like, you'll figure out how to edit photos. My photos, I used to post unedited photos. I can't imagine posting an unedited photo now. I'm like, I like slim my face and whiten my teeth and put eyelashes on and everything before a photo goes out of me. Okay. It's like,
Learn how to use music on a story this week. That was an accomplishment.
It's like, as you're going, you'll start to figure out like, oh, okay, this is how I do this. And like, it can be kind of daunting at first, because it's like, there's a lot of different like elements, and you're like, there's so many things I need to learn. But at the end of the day, the things that I sent in this, in that typed out thing, that's all I want you to focus on. I don't want you to try to focus on like what apps you need for like editing photos, or, like anything extra is just extra. And that's something that you can learn on your own, like on your own time, when you're not trying to run your business. But right now, like, there's big money on the table that I don't want you guys to leave. I don't like anybody leaving something on the table that they could have had and that their family could have impacted their family. So that's what we're here for. We're here to change your family's lives. We're not here to play around and try to be perfect and show up on social media like we're just Miss Priss. Like, we don't care about that. We just want to be who we are. And so that's what I encourage you to do. Don't try to be an expert. Just be a beginner and learn and grow in your own time. And just try to work on these. And if you have questions about these, obviously, we need to go over them so that you can feel comfortable. But anything else extra, I would say let's hit you to the first rank. Let's get you to 4K, and then we'll worry about like photos and making super cute stories and all of those things. Like, let's just get you to that $4,000 bonus, and then we'll play with all the other stuff later. So that's basically it that I want you to focus on doing daily. It's not very much, honestly. Seriously, in the morning, it probably takes me to like add everyone, say happy birthday, post my products on my stories. That's typically what I unfollow too, because I don't like my ratio, but that's something else that you don't need to worry about right now. So I do all of that in the morning. It probably takes me like an hour and 20 minutes. Once I'm done doing that, then I just have my interacting 4 times throughout the day, and then, responding to messages and stuff. But if you do that, if you set yourself up for success like that, and like, okay, I want to post this tomorrow or whatever, or if like, let's say you read or listen to something and you are inspired, write out that post right then in your note section so you can go back to it. Like, really just be intentional with your time rather than just kind of flying by the seat of your pants. Like, get a schedule, figure out what works for you. Don't do what works for me. Do what works for you. If you like to work at night, then set yourself up to work at night. Do whatever you need to do that works best for you. But just make sure that you're getting these things done on a daily basis. It's not negotiable. Not for me, but for you, because you guys said that you wanted to win big. So I'm just going to tell you how it is. You got to do this stuff non-negotiable every single day. Because let me tell you something that I think that most people don't realize. And if I can tell you this now when you're new, maybe I can save you some hard times later, because there's a lot of women on our team who have been kind of wishy-washy. And so they've been here for a little bit and then went away, and been here for a little bit and went away. And what they've done is they've destroyed their credibility. No one can trust you, because you've came here and you've left, and you've came here and you've left, and people don't trust you. And why would somebody want to join someone who's half in and half out? They don't. So either you show up or you don't show up. You pick, but you don't do both. So I just want to make sure that if you're going to show up, I'm not saying you have to post every single day, because I don't even do that. I post when I feel inspired. I show up on my stories every single day. People know I'm here. They know I'm using my products. They know those things because I show up. So just make sure that is, if this is something that you really want, that's what you do, because you'll hurt yourself really hard, like bad in the long run, if you start to just kind of shy away, and then you're like, okay, I'm ready. And then like, I can't stand it. So anyways, let's go through y'all's questions real quick, and then we can hop off here. Who wants to go first?
I will, only because you answered my first two already.
Okay.
About the following of 50 and 50 and like how you go about it. So that made a lot more sense of how you do it versus how I was doing it, because I felt like I was just adding more members and I was like, it's probably not what I'm supposed to be doing. And then I barely had any interactions. So my main question was, how do you go about it? So like you said, you do the 10, and then go back and then do. So that makes it a lot easier to break it down that way. Does anyone talk about the other products, or is it just mainly the 3 steps? Like, obviously we have a bunch of other products, but is it?
I don't.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
I don't, because I don't really use the other products, to be honest.
Right. But if someone was to say, what else do you guys have? Like, what would you say?
Oh, I mean, I would just say, I don't know. I would just probably tell them.
Like, you can go to the website, like.
I mean, yeah, I guess I would just tell them, like, well, we're a health and wellness company, so we have that. We also have a CBD skincare line. So we have a lot of things, like stuff for sleep. We have stuff for growing hair. Like, what is it that you're interested in? I can offer like a product.
Kind of get a gist of like what they want first before going and
So
trying.
typically I ask, like, when I'm talking to somebody, I usually say, like, well, what is your health goal? Like, what are you looking for? So that way I can tailor the 3 steps towards you. And then if they're like, they really, really want the weight loss, well, then I'm going to say, okay, so I would suggest the ultras, but I would also add in Sculpt, because that's our instrument insure. And so if you're really wanting to focus on weight loss, like that would be a good way to, up and increase your results. And so like, that's how I would upsell in that moment.
I only had one more, and it was, I'm scared shitless to go live, so I need some helpful, encouraging tips when that does happen. Obviously, it's not going to happen tomorrow, but
yeah,
I want it to happen so bad, but I'm still just like I'm comfortable right now talking to you guys, but the minute I go in front of the freaking world, I'm just like I took speech in college, and how I got an A, I don't know, because I bullshitted my way through, because I was like, I have to pass this. Like, it's a requirement for my degree. And it was so nerve-wracking. I was shaking. My voice was just straight cracked. Like, it was terrible. I could feel it. And I'm like, how are you guys even watching me?
Like, is this awkward for you too?
Literally, I'm like, is it awkward? Because it's awkward for me. Like, is anyone even paying attention to me?
I felt really uncomfortable when I first started. I think that's normal. Like, everyone's gonna feel uncomfortable.
I feel like everyone said that so far. Any video that I've watched.
Right? You're staring at yourself. One thing that I always tell everybody when they're about to go live for the first time, I'm like, just remember, it can be deleted. It doesn't have to stay. Okay. So if you don't feel comfortable with it, delete it, right? It doesn't have to stay there. Like, just give it a shot. If you don't like it, delete it. Don't rewatch it. I can tell you that.
Yeah, I heard it.
I used to do that. And I was like,
I think it was Lynn's. When I watched her, she was like, "Oh God, it just played my voice. God, I hate that. That is the worst sound ever."
My husband will open up my stories, and I'm like talking. I'm like, turn that off. I can't stand it. So that, and then whenever I first started doing lives, I was always doing something while I was live, so that way it kind of took my mind off of like
staring at yourself.
This is awkward. Like, so like maybe cooking or doing my makeup or straightening my hair or whatever. So that way I was actually doing something, because one, people are so nosy. So they're going to want to see what you're doing, and they're going to want to watch you just because of what you're doing. And then they're going to listen to what you say. And so that was something that I did. And then I was just reminded myself, like, I tried to write bullet notes and like everything, and it just made me feel like I was trying to read a prompt. And so I feel a lot better when I just talk normal. And if I get off and I'm just like, that was really all over the place, like, I'll delete it, and so it's okay. Like, you don't have to feel the pressure to keep it up. And if you feel like it was awkward, just take it down. So
that's all I had.
Next? Tiff, you want to go? Do you have questions? Unmute yourself. Here, I'll do it for you. Wait, why does it say ask to unmute? There you go.
Okay. All right. You know me, I ask like every, excuse me, like all day long. I'm like messaging Audrey, like, hi, I know I'm probably being a pain in the ass, but I have another question. So, just in case like somebody like on the outside world, other than like social media, you want to speak about how good you're feeling like at the gym, or if you bump into somebody at the grocery store and they say, hey, what's that sticker doing on your arm or whatever. How do I get them to my link? Like, do you actually make business cards? I mean,
No,
like, how do
I
I go
usually
about
have
that?
people add me on social media.
You just say, add me on social media. That's it?
Yeah, I'm just like, hey, do you have Facebook? Okay, add me on Facebook. Let me get you connected to my Facebook. That you'll see all my stuff on there, and you'll be able to see, everything I talk about. And you can, if you end up being interested and you want to try it, you can always message me.
Okay.
So
And then do you keep samples at all times?
No.
No. Okay.
Mm-mm. No, I always just tell, like I said, like if somebody was like, oh, I really want to try that, I'd be like, add me on Facebook, message me, and I'll get it mailed out to you.
Okay.
So I don't typically do a lot of face-to-face. I'm actually really, which is hilarious because I talk to so many people. I'm actually like super shy. I don't go up to people and I don't do in person. No, that's not my jam. And if people ask me, I typically am like, I've done this for so long, and they'll still ask me, and I'm like, why are you talking to me? Like, you get on social media and talk to me there because I'll be able to answer you.
Right. It's behind the
Yes.
scenes. It's not face to face.
That's not my jam. So I typically just avoid conversation at all costs.
Okay, that's a good one. And then it was I was a little confused as well with like the adding. I asked you that. Was it the Instagram? I'm still kind of learning. I was big on Facebook.
I grew my whole business on social media on Facebook for 3 years. So it can be done just built on Facebook. I did that. But I suggest to have the Instagram just in case anybody, because it's a whole nother platform with more people. So
okay. I'm sure there's more. So just every single day, post the product,
yes.
add 50 on each.
Mm-hmm.
And then what are the other ones?
Birthdays, self-development,
and that's just
interact
on your own.
Yes.
Like self-development, just by myself.
Whatever feels good.
Whatever I feel good to me. Yeah. Okay.
All right. And that's just really like growing your mind, learning something new, whatever. Like it can be watching a training that you missed, or like it may be one of our old trainings, or like really anything that feels good to you. And so like, if you're really wanting to learn how to like work Instagram and stuff, like find some Instagram trainings and watch those or whatever. Like it's just it's up to you how you want to spend your time to do that. I typically will listen to like a sermon or I'll read my book or whatever, but that's what I enjoy doing. So I never tell anybody how to grow. You grow on your own.
Okay.
So.
Yeah, I think I've asked quite a bit of questions throughout the little time here.
Yeah, but it's okay.
I'll have a ton of more.
Yes, and that's fine. Do you have any, Danielle? She's like, how do I unmute?
I use Zoom a lot for my other jobs. So.
There you
go. Mine was just like how to not get people scared of like the price of the promoter packs, because that's what has been.
Okay, utilize me.
Okay.
Let me do it. So whenever you get to the point in the conversation where somebody would say, okay, well, how much is it to join? Or even before that point, if they're talking to you and they're interested, I would suggest you to just be like, hey, can I get you in a 3-way chat with my upline? I would love for her to be able to talk to you about it. I'm still kind of new and I don't want to like word vomit on you. So let me get you connected with her. She can answer all your questions and then you and I can chat afterwards. And so then you put me in a 3-way chat, you let me handle all of it for you. And if we do those, over the next few weeks, like a bunch of times, then you'll get used to exactly how I say it. And then you'll be able to see how confident I am when I send that over. I'm not trying to take somebody's money. It's a good thing. Like the packs set people up for success. So I don't have any, I don't feel bad about saying, 200, 400, 800. Because although that is quite a bit of money, like it's setting them up for success in their business, and we don't have any additional fees. So you're coming in and that's the only money that you're going to spend. Try starting a business outside somewhere, brick and mortar, and building a business. Like you're going to spend hundreds of thousands of dollars. So $800 in comparison, you're not spending very much and you're investing in yourself. So definitely, if any of you guys have somebody who's interested and you just don't feel comfortable in the conversation, either screenshot. I prefer to do the three-way when it's about a promoter. If it's about product, screenshot and send it to me, because I think it's awkward to be like, hey, you want to talk to my upline about product? Like, you should have, like, people want to see that you're confident. So like, just screenshot me and let me tell you what to say if you're confused. Don't try to do it on your own. That's what I'm here for. I don't care if you're in my inbox 24/7. Like, we're here to work together as a team. You're not going to always have to do that. It's only going to be a couple months of you doing that. And then you're going to be like, Audrey, I got this. And you'll only pop it in my inbox every now and then when you get like a super weird question about like gluten or something. But other than that, like you'll feel confident. So that's how we're going to build your communication skills with people. That's how you'll learn the verbiage on how to not scare somebody away and everything. So definitely make sure that you're utilizing me as a resource with your conversations. Is that it? All right, well, we have 2 minutes, 36 seconds until it kicks us off. So we did it under the time. So I'm so proud of us because I don't pay for Zoom because I'm not doing it. Like, I'm not paying $16 a month. I'm just not.
Do you really? I didn't even know you had to pay for Zoom.
Yeah, if you want the upgraded one, I don't pay for it. I refuse. I tell my team all the time, I'm not doing that. I'm paying $16. We can do it for free. We just stay under 40 minutes and we're good.
Exactly.
It's long enough anyway.
That's insane.
Plenty of time.
It's a lot. I mean, I feel like $16 is a little excessive. But anyways, okay. Well, I'm super excited. I hope that this helped get some like clarity and that you guys can, feel confident in the tasks that you're doing on a daily basis. That habit share will keep you on track if you're just making sure that you're going in periodically through the day. What's up?
Before we leave, that I have to manually the first time add our five, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then it'll say, do you want to share with friends? And then whoever's connected with you, just accept all of them. And that way we're all notified as you're checking your tasks off on a daily basis. Yeah.
Because I know I started it today and then I was like, oh, I will have the meeting today and then I'll finish putting them in tonight.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
So just all of the ones that I sent for the requirements, those are all supposed to be in there. And then if you want to add anything extra, some people like, you'll see mine, like I add 150 people on Instagram. I don't add 50, I add 100.
Nice.
So, and then I do more than what I ask you guys to do, but I know the amount that I'm asking you to do is if you're doing those on a daily basis, you will see people coming into your inbox. You will see a difference. So,
okay.
All right. Well, it's about to cut us off, but I love you guys. Thank you so much for taking time out of your night. And if you need anything, you guys know where to find me.
Always.
Thank you.
Bye, guys.
Thank you.